It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the Canadian Burn Survivor Conference. And this morning, I just want to give you a little background of Mamingwey, how Mamingwey came to be, the Mamingwey Burn Survivor Society. And I want to start, though, by acknowledging a few people. As you've heard from Martin, we had the very first conference in 1997. And it was actually two people spearheaded the idea, being very just inspired by attending an American Burn meeting, as we always do, to come and it was Jacinta Barchette and Kathy Mackey, both therapists who worked on the burn unit for many, many years. And they were just so enthusiastic and so determined that we can pull this thing off. So thankfully, with the support of Martin Johnson, who is our pillar of strength, and the Firefighters Burn Fund, a committee was put together and we made it happen. And as Martin said, year after year, we've had these conferences with great success. In 2004, the committee decided it was high time that we come up with a name for this group. And Barb had us all on a mission to get out, just get our thinking caps going and just try to come up with something that would be fitting. While I was working on the burn unit, there was this very interesting gentleman who came on the burn unit to visit people. He was actually an Aboriginal elder who came to provide spiritual support to the First Nations people. And when you come across somebody with this positive energy, it's so special. And not that I had any lengthy conversations with the man, but he was just very, very soft. You can tell he was very wise and very approachable. And I thought, I'm just gonna chat with him and see if he has any ideas to suggest. So I called him up and he says, well, come to my office. He had an office downtown. So one very cold February afternoon in Winnipeg, I set this appointment up in downtown, and I came in there and I said to him, we're looking for a name, and I sort of gave him a very brief overview of what a somewhat recovery period was for someone who experienced a burn injury. And he looked at me and he says, Linda, I want you wouldn't believe this, but just an hour before you got here, I had something sent to me. And I want you to sit down right here, and I want you to read this, and then we'll talk. And this is what I read. The Butterfly's Lesson. One day, a small opening appeared in a cocoon. A man sat and watched for the butterfly for several hours as it struggled to force its body through that little hole. Then it seemed to stop making any progress, and appeared as if it had gotten as far as it could, and it could not go any further. So the man decided to help the butterfly, took a pair of scissors, and opened the cocoon. The butterfly then emerged easily, but it had a withered body, it was shiny, tiny, and shriveled wings. The man continued to watch because he expected that at any moment, the wings would open, enlarge, and expand to be able to support the butterfly's body and become firm. Neither happened. In fact, the butterfly spent the rest of its life crawling around with a withered body and shriveled wings. It never was able to fly. What the man, in his kindness and goodwill, did not understand was that the restricting cocoon and the struggle required for the butterfly to get through the tiny opening were nature's way of forcing fluid from the body of the butterfly into its wings, so that it would be ready for flight once it achieved its freedom from the cocoon. Sometimes struggles are exactly what we need in our life. If we were allowed to go through our life without any obstacles, it would cripple us. We would not be as strong as we could have been, never been able to fly. I asked for strength, and I was given difficulties to make me strong. I asked for wisdom, and I was given problems to solve. I asked for prosperity, and I was given a brain and brawn to work. I asked for courage, and I was given obstacles to overcome. I asked for love, and I was given troubled people to help. I asked for favors, and I was given opportunities. I received nothing I wanted, but I received everything I needed. Well, at this point, my heart was just beating so quickly. I was so touched. And I looked at him and I said, so what's the Aboriginal term for butterfly? And he looks at me and he goes, I don't know. So he goes down the hallway, he leaves me sitting there, and he comes back and he goes, Mamingwey. And I go, pardon me? Mamingwey. And I went, wow, that's a nice sound. He said to me, it's an Ojibwe term for butterfly. So I was very, very overwhelmed and excited. And actually, that year, after I presented to the committee, we all agreed upon it. That name was feasted as a gift of hope to celebrate, to transform a community of burn survivors, their families, caregivers, the friends, the professionals and firefighters into the community of the Mamingwey Burn Survivor Society. Now, he went on to mention that, Linda, the butterfly is very, very, it's a beautiful symbol. With its developmental cycle, it also represents the actual life's cycle of transformation. Well, then you think a little further about that, and we both looked at each other and agreed, wow, what a parallel this draws with that person who has suffered a burn injury, that recovery period, that's all those stages of recovery that a person goes through. Each year, the monarch butterfly displays a remarkable resilience, traveling hundreds and thousands of miles from northern parts of Canada all the way to volcanic regions of Mexico. Isn't that fascinating? This is a true reflection of fragility and strength that coexist. Our logo is actually based upon the Aboriginal teachings of the medicine wheel. There's an outer circle that represents the circle of life, the continuity of life's journey, and the 4 quadrants represent the pillars of strength and evolution of being. So I just want to take a look. Here's our logo. You've seen it everywhere around here, so all the rooms and in your program. Now the 4 quadrants, again representing the pillars of strength and the evolution of being. We're going to look at each of these quadrants just to pull these things all together that I've just covered. In the infancy, physical stage, the egg represents a new beginning. A burn injury causes physical alteration, pain, and feeling of hopelessness and dependency on others. The emotional or larva stage is a period of establishing one's own identity, learning about one's emotions. It's a roller coaster ride. One is trying to control those emotions, and it refers to what we put into our heads, our inner talk. The adult or mental stage, the cocoon, is that of wisdom, morals, and kindness. In its adult transformation, symbolically the butterfly, one is in search of spirituality, trying to make a connection with a greater power. And to everyone, that can mean different things. To some people, it may mean God. It may be creator, maybe nature, whatever it is that gives you a sense of empowerment. The fire in the middle with the smoke rising symbolizes one's connection with a higher power. We have to continually feed the spirit, and by that looking after each quadrant, and hopefully everything will come into balance, which ultimately leads to self-actualization and self-acceptance. That butterfly lesson reminds us of how we must endure struggle before we can gain strength. And by overcoming one's own obstacles, one learns to survive and thrive. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the rest of the conference.